What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video today. I'm doing my way too early 2024 NASCAR Cup Series silly season predictions. We're going to go through every single team and tell you which driver I think will be at those teams for 2024. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start by talking about the one car for Trackhouse Racing. Currently, Ross Chastain drives that one car for Trackhouse Racing. And while Ross Chastain is on an expiring contract at the end of 2023, my expectation is currently at the moment that Ross Chastain is going to get a multi-year contract extension with Trackhouse Racing because Chastain's performance I expect to go pretty well, and Ross Chastain wants to stay at Trackhouse Racing long term. So I expect that Ross Chastain will stay long term and stay in the one car in 2024. Up next, how about the two car for Team Penske? I'm not expecting any changes in 2024. I would think Austin Cindric is going to continue driving that two car in 2024. He, of course, is a son of Tim Cindric, who is the president and basically the competition director at Team Penske. Plus, Austin Cindric won, of course, the 2022 edition of the Daytona 500 and will be looking to win his second career NASCAR Cup Series victory in 2023. He'll be looking to also go back-to-back in the Daytona 500. I think Cindric will be a very successful driver, and I think he stays long-term with Team Penske and will finish his career at Team Penske. Up next, how about the three car for Richard Childress Racing? There's going to be no changes here. Austin Dillon has a contract through 2025 with Richard Childress Racing, so we will see him continue driving the three car at least through 2025. And I'm going to be honest, I think he's going to get an extension sometime in 2023 or 2024 with Richard Childress Racing. But like I said, I'm not expecting any changes. I think Austin Dillon will stay long-term, and he will continue driving the three car for Richard Childress Racing long-term, including through 2025. Up next, how about the four car for Stewart-Haas Racing? Now, there are going to be changes to this car in 2024 because at the end of the 2023 season, Kevin Harvick is going to retire. And they're going to need a driver who is going to replace Kevin Harvick because Kevin Harvick is not coming back even on a part-time basis in 2024. So they're going to need a new driver. My prediction for the four car in 2024 is I think that they're going to bring someone who's already in-house, that being Ryan Preece, who's driving the 41 car. I predict that Ryan Preece gets moved over to drive the number 4 car in 2024. The reason being that Ryan Preece is a KHI driver, plus I think that was one of the initial goals for Stewart-Haas Racing anyways, was to move him eventually over to the 4 car. So I expect at this point that Ryan Preece is going to drive the 4 car, and I think he moves to the 4 car in 2024, but stays with Stewart-Haas Racing. Up next, how about the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports? There's going to be no changes here. Kyle Larson has a contract for the 2026 season, so at least stay with Hendrick Motorsports for the next 3 years. And it would shock me or surprise me that even in 2024 or even 2025, that Kyle Larson gets a multi-year extension. Kyle Larson's done a really good job, of course, a Cup Series champion and won a lot of races with Hendrick Motorsports, so there's no chance that they are going to be getting rid of Kyle Larson long term. Of course, he'll be running the Indy 500 in 2024 as well. So Kyle Larson has a long-term deal with Hendrick, and he'll stay in the 5 car. Up next, how about the 6 car for RFK? There's going to be no changes here. I expect that Brad Keselowski is going to continue driving the 6 car for RFK Racing in 2024. Brad Keselowski coming off a kind of a disappointing year in 2022, though near the end of the year they really showed some good signs in growth and improvement. Keselowski had a great car at Bristol for having a tire go down, and then of course he had issues at Martinsville where he got DQ'd after having a really strong run there. Brad Keselowski is going to stay long-term with RFK. I think he'll be with the team at least for a few years on the driving side of things. I think by 2025 or 2026 he'll retire, but he's going to stay at RFK. Up next, how about the 7 car for Spire Motorsports? Well, nothing's been announced for 2024 at this point, and Corey LaJoie is on an expiring contract with Spire Motorsports at the end of 2023. I would expect that Corey LaJoie is going to continue driving the 7 car for Spire Motorsports in 2024. There's really nowhere to go, I think, for Corey LaJoie at this point. I know some teams may be looking at Corey LaJoie, especially if he steps up really well with Spire in 2023, but I would not expect any changes. I think he'll stay in the number 7 car in 2024. Up next, how about the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing? There's going to be no changes here. Kyle Busch will continue driving for Richard Childress Racing at least through 2024 or probably even 2025. Kyle Busch, of course, joins Richard Childress Racing in 2023 and will be expected to probably have a really strong year with the team. Some people have had some low expectations for Kyle, but I think in 2023 he is going to perform very, very well and make that 8 car really, really strong throughout the season. He's going to stay long-term with Richard Childress Racing and will continue driving in 2024 in the number 8 car for Richard Childress Racing. Up next, how about the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports? There's going to be no changes here. Chase Elliott is going to continue driving the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports because he has a contract with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2027 season. It wouldn't also surprise or shock me if Chase Elliott in the next couple years does win another NASCAR Cup Series championship, but you're not going to see any changes in the 9 car in 2024. He's got a deal through 2027. No changes are going to be coming to the 9 car for the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? Now, currently, at the moment, when it comes to the 10 car situation, Eric Almirola apparently has a multi-year deal with Stewart-Haas Racing. However, Bob Pockrass noted back in October, I think at either Las Vegas or the Charlotte Roll weekend, that Eric Almirola may not be with the team past 2023, and 2024 could be an option year. If you want my prediction, I think Eric Almirola is going to retire at the end of the season, and I think that Riley Herbst, who currently drives the 98 in the Xfinity Series for Stewart-Haas Racing, I think he is going to replace Eric Almirola. Riley Herbst has that Monster Energy funding and his sponsorship funding from Terribles as well, and of course Riley Herbst has been in the Xfinity Series for a few years. Do I think he's ready to jump up? No, but if you want to bet, I think he'll be taking over that 10 car in 2024. I think Riley Herbst takes the ride. Up next, how about the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? I don't really expect any changes here. Yes, Denny Hamlin is on a contract year with Joe Gibbs Racing, but I think Denny Hamlin feels very confident. He expects it's going to take a few months for a deal to get done, but I'm pretty confident in saying that I think Denny Hamlin is going to get at least a 1 or 2 year expansion with Joe Gibbs Racing, so probably 2024, 2025 will get an extension with the team. I don't expect any changes here, though. Yes, Denny's on a contract here. I don't expect any changes, though, for Denny Hamlin going forward. I think he still drives the 11 car. Up next, how about the 12 car for Team Penske? There's going to be no changes here. Ryan Blaney will continue driving the 12 car in 2024 as Ryan Blaney signed a long-term contract extension with Team Penske. Ryan Blaney did not win in 2022, but I think in 2023 he's going to win multiple races, and I think he's going to do a very good job with this team once again. He's going to be a championship threat, be a championship contender, and I expect Ryan Blaney to have a pretty good year in 2023 and will stay with Penske in 2024. Up next, how about the 13 car for Kaulig Racing? This car was just announced at the Daytona 500 in 2023 and a couple other races that Chandler Smith is going to run. I expect this number to stay around for 2024, and I think it's going to be the all-star car for Kaulig Racing. If you want my bet, I think Chandler Smith will be driving this car for a lot of races in 2024. I think Daniel Hemrick, I think he'll stay long-term with Kaulig Racing. I think he'll be driving this number 13 car as well. And it wouldn't surprise or shock me if someone else comes in and maybe runs some road course races. I think anything's possible. Nothing should be thrown out the window. And I think you're going to see multiple drivers drive this 13 car in 2024. Up next, how about the 14 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? While Chase Briscoe is on an expiring contract with Stewart-Haas Racing, I don't expect any changes for Chase Briscoe going into the 2024 season. Chase Briscoe has been really a big fan of Tony Stewart, obviously, and he's been part of the Ford development program for many, many years, so Ford is not going to want to get rid of him. So I'm not expecting any changes here. I think we'll continue to see Chase Briscoe drive the 14 car long-term, and at least through the next couple of years. He'll stay in the number 14 car, at least for the next few years. Up next, how about the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing? I expect the 15 car to be very similar to what they ran in 2022 and 2023, where they're going to be a rotation team. I expect drivers like Joey Hand, Garrett Smithley, and other drivers like J.J. Yeley and Joey Gates to get an opportunity to drive his 15 car in 2024. I know Garrett Smithley does have a contract with BJ McLeod, which is a Chevy brand, but I don't think that he's going to be driving for that team. Well, I think he'll be driving for that team, but I don't think that he'll be obligated to just be driving for BJ McLeod's team. So I think those are some of the drivers who will drive the 15 car, though, in 2024. Up next, how about the 16 car for Kaulig Racing? I'm not expecting any changes here. I think AJ Allmendinger is going to be with Kaulig Racing's Cup team at least for the next couple of years. AJ, of course, is coming back full-time in 2023 for the first time since 2018 in the NASCAR Cup Series. I think AJ is going to have a pretty solid year. I think he gets one win in the Cup Series in 2023, and I think he's going to stay at least for the next few years where he might even become stronger in 2024, 2025. He is, though, going to stay long-term and continue driving the 16 car for Kaulig Racing in 2024. Up next, how about the 17 car for RFK Racing? There's going to be no changes here. Chris Buescher has a multi-year deal with RFK Racing that I think goes through 2024 or 2025. So he's going to continue driving a 17 car at least for the next couple of years. Chris Buescher picked up a win in 2022, and he could have another pretty good year in 2023 as well. He hopes to have a pretty good year. RFK looks to improve, and I think this team could have a pretty good year in 2023, and he will stay with the number 17 car long term. Up next, how about the 18 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? That's right. I think the 18 car is actually going to return in 2024. Because I think the 19 car is actually going to go away, and I think it's going to be swapped for the 18 car. My prediction right now is that John Hunter Nemechek, who's driving the number 20 car in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing, is going to take over the 18 car in 2024. Because Martin Truex Jr., I think, is going to retire at the end of the 2023 season, and it will be his last year. And John Hunter Nemechek is going to be the replacement for Martin Truex Jr. in 2024. I think they're going to switch the number back to the 18. M&M's won't be the sponsor. It'll probably be some of the companies that like John Hunter has had in the past. But I think John Hunter will be driving the 18 car, and the number 19 car will be gone, and Martin Truex Jr. is going to retire. Up next, how about the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? There's no changes here. Cristobal will continue driving the 20 car through at least the next couple of years, as Cristobal signed a multi-year extension throughout the 2022 season and will stay with the team long term. Cristobal is a driver I'm expecting to continue to show a lot of big improvement and show a lot of great pace in the next couple of years. I think this 20 team is going to become a pretty strong organization, and I think he's going to do a great job, and I think he stays long term with Joe Gibbs Racing going into the future. Up next, how about the number 21 car for the Wood Brothers? While nothing's been officially announced for 2024, and Harrison Burton, of course, is on an expiring contract with the Wood Brothers, I don't expect any changes to be made. I think Harrison Burton is a long-term project with the Wood Brothers organization. I don't think there's going to be any changes made. I think Harrison Burton long-term is going to stay with this team, I think at least for the next few years. I think he's going to show some signs of improvement in 2023 with the Wood Brothers, and I think he'll stay with the Wood Brothers through 2024 at this point. Up next, how about the 22 car for Team Penske? There's going to be no changes here because Joey Logano signed pretty much like a 5 or 6 year extension with Team Penske through like 2027 or to 2028 season. So Joey Logano is going to continue driving the 22 car at least through that season. And of course, Joey Logano in 2022 is coming off of a championship last year. He'll be looking to try to win his second straight championship and his third NASCAR Cup Series championship. Logano looks to have a pretty strong year, and he will stay long-term with Team Penske and continuing to drive the number 22 car. Up next, how about the 23 car for 23XI Racing? There's going to be no changes here. Bubba Wallace is going to continue driving the 23 car for 23XI Racing in 2024 because Bubba Wallace signed a multi-year contract extension. He had a contract through 2023, but he has now a couple more years, probably 2025 or 2026 is when that deal expires. So I'm not expecting any changes long-term going forward. I think Bubba is going to finish his career with 23XI Racing, and he will continue driving the 23 car long-term. He stays in the 23 car in 2024. Up next, how about the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports? There's going to be no changes here. William Byron will continue driving the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports through at least the 2025 season. William Byron is a driver who really just needs to start stepping up the plate and winning a lot more races than he has. But Hendrick Motorsports, they see something in him, and I think that's playing a major role in why William Byron is going to stay long-term with the organization. William Byron's a good driver. I think he will have a chance of stepping up to the plate. He definitely needs to go in long-term if he's going to stay long-term in the future. But I expect that William Byron will stay long-term with Hendrick Motorsports and will continue driving the 24 car for many, many years to come. Up next, how about the 26 car for Team Haysbert? Well, nothing. We don't really know about Team Haysbert past 2023, and even if they're going to show up in 2023, I anticipate they're going to show up in 2023 and 2024 as well. And I think that Danny Kvyat is going to drive the 26 car for quite a few races. Now, I'm not expecting a 26 car to be full-time by 2024, but Danny Kvyat has shown interest and wants to race in NASCAR a lot more consistently. So I think in 2024, we're going to see Danny Kvyat make some starts in that car, and I think that he will make some starts for Team Haysbert in 2024. Up next, how about the 27 car for Team Haysbert? Not unlike the 26 car, I expect the 27 car for Team Haysbert to be a full-time organization. I think they're going to be looking to try to get a charter. Wouldn't surprise me if they expand the charter system almost at this point, though I don't think they're going to. But I think this team is going to be looking to go full-time by 2024. They're expanding their schedule, from what I understand, for 2023, and I think they expanded a little bit going into 2024. And I think Reese Haysmans is going to drive this car for every single race that they decide to enter long term. Up next, how about the 30 car for 3F Racing? Now, 3F Racing, of course, will be making their debut at Atlanta later this year. That's the goal for the team in 2023. But I think in 2024, 3F Racing is going to somewhat expand their schedule. And I think they're going to have drivers like Justin Allgaier and Ryan Vargas drive this car. 3F Racing has Christopher Tate and Ryan Vargas, the drivers they're looking at for the long-term future, but they're also understanding they need a veteran driver. So I think that the drivers I predict are Justin Allgaier and Ryan Vargas, who will be the drivers behind the wheel of that car. Will they run more races? Who knows? They're going to run a couple races this year, but I think in 2024 they could have a more expanded schedule with multiple drivers behind the wheel. Up next, how about the 31 car for Kaulig Racing? While Justin Haley is on an expiring contract with Kaulig Racing, from what we understand, I expect that Justin Haley is going to stay long-term with the Kaulig Racing Group in 2024. Justin Haley has been with Kaulig Racing since 2019 in some sort of capacity, made the team's first start at Daytona 500 in 2020, and I think he stays long-term with the team and tries to help the team to only grow and really help the team grow and develop as an organization. I expect nothing to change, and Justin Haley, I think, continues to drive the number 31 car. Up next, how about the 33 car for Richard Childress Racing? Now, Richard Childress Racing and Richard himself has talked about maybe in the future expanding their organization and their branding. They actually ran 3 cars at one point in 2022 at Michigan, and they've talked about running some more races in 2023. My prediction at this point, though, for 2024 is that I think the ride is going to be split between Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed. Both drivers are currently driving their Xfinity Series program, and of course, we're on Austin Hill is going to be making some select cup starts this year with the Beer Motorsports Group. But I think in 2024, this ride gets expanded, and we'll see both these drivers split the ride when the car goes on track. Up next, how about the 34 car for Front Row Motorsports? While Michael McDowell is currently on an expiring contract with Front Row Motorsports, and really, let's be for real, Front Row tends to only have one-year deals, and Michael McDowell is probably getting close to the end of his career. I would anticipate that Michael McDowell is going to stay at Front Row Motorsports unless another organization decides to pick him up. Michael McDowell is a very solid driver who's shown major improvement and major growth as a driver in this series, and I think he's going to continue doing that long-term, and I think he'll continue driving the 34 car long-term going into the future, at least for the next couple of years. Probably retires around 2025 to 2026, but we'll see Michael McDowell, I think, continue to drive the 34 car. Up next, how about the 36 car for Front Row Motorsports? Now, 36 car has not been announced as a number they're going to run for Zane Smith in 2023, but I think in 2024, we're going to see this car almost become a full-time entry, and I think Zane Smith is going to drive every single start this 36 enters. I think Front Row wants to expand in the future. I think they will become a 3-car team in the Cup Series long-term on their full-time program, and I think that Front Row wants to keep Zane Smith long-term. Zane Smith is a driver who a lot of people are really looking at. He's a really big top Ford prospect, but I think long-term he's going to stay with Front Row and continue to drive the 36 car. Up next, how about the 38 car for Front Row Motorsports? While Todd Gilliland's also on a 1-year contract with Front Row Motorsports and expires at the end of 2023, I would anticipate that there's going to be no changes with this 38 car. I would anticipate that Todd Gilliland is going to continue driving the 38 car long-term. Todd Gilliland, of course, is the son of David Gilliland, and now their Tricon is a Toyota team. But Todd Gilliland, as a contract at Front Row, he's been driving for Front Row in some sort of capacity since, I think, 2020. So I would expect there's going to be no changes coming for the 38 team long-term, and I think he'll stay in the number 38 car for the next few years. Up next, how about the 40 car for Nice Motorsports? Yes, you heard that right. I think Nice Motorsports is actually going to jump from the Truck Series all the way up to the Cup Series. And I think that Carson Hocevar is going to be the driver. Cody Efa, who is the president and general manager of Nice Motorsports, has said publicly, talking to Davey Siegel, that their team wants to expand to the Cup Series. And they were hoping to make some starts in 2022 and 2023 as well. I think they're going to expand their team going into 2024, where I think they'll jump up to the Cup Series, and I think Carson Hocevar is going to be the driver of this number 40 car when it jumps up the Cup. Up next, how about the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing? Now, I've already predicted that Ryan Preece is going to be moving back over to the 4 car in 2024. So who takes the 41 car? My prediction is that it's going to be Cole Custer moving all the way back up to the Cup Series and driving the 41 car. I think Cole Custer is going to have a pretty massive and big year at Stewart-Haas Racing in 2023 in the Xfinity Series, where he's going to be a championship threat. In fact, we're not surprised he wins a championship altogether. I think that's going to be good enough for him to get back up to the Cup Series. I think he'll be driving the number 41 car once again in 2024, like he did in 2022, 2021, and 2020. Up next, how about the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club? While Noah Gragson is on an expiring deal with Legacy Motor Club, past this year he does not have a deal, I would anticipate Noah Gragson is going to stay long-term with Legacy Motor Club. Noah Gragson is a very talented driver who could have a pretty big year in the Cup Series this year as a rookie, because he will be going for the Rookie of the Year honors. I think the Rookie of the Year honors in the battle there is going to be really, really strong. But I think Noah Gragson will get an extension, and I think he will stay with the Legacy Motor Club group long-term. I think he continues driving the number 42 car long-term. Up next, how about the 43 car for Legacy Motor Club? This one's already confirmed. Eric Jones is going to continue driving the number 43 car for Legacy Motor Club. Eric Jones picked up a win in the Southern 500 in 2022. I expect Eric Jones to have another good year in the 2023 season. So I think he stays long-term with the team. I think he's going to finish his career with Legacy Motor Club unless another team does try to pick him up, which I don't think really would happen at this point, because I think Legacy Motor Club wants to keep him long-term, and I think they will keep him long-term for many, many years to come. Up next, how about the 44 car for NY Racing? Now, a lot of people like myself thought that NY Racing was dead and they were never going to return, because we thought 3F Racing bought the assets from the team. Turns out that is not the case, and the team is still around. I think in 2024, you're going to see this team try to make quite a few starts. And my prediction right now is that Matt DiBenedetto is going to be the driver of the NY Racing car. Matt DiBenedetto currently drives full-time for Rackley Ward Racing in the Truck Series. He'll be back there in 2023. Got a win last year with them in the Truck Series at Talladega in a controversial finish. I think he goes back to the Cup Series in 2024 and will be driving for NY Racing in quite a few starts, and might be driving full-time in the Truck Series again with Rackley as well in 2024. Up next, how about the 45 car for 2311 Racing? There's going to be no changes here in 2024. Tyler Reddick will be driving the 45 car for 2311 Racing in 2024. Tyler Reddick originally was supposed to drive the 45 car for 2311 Racing, but joins them in 2023. Tyler Reddick's coming off a fantastic year in 2022 where he scored 3 victories, and I think in 2023, in his first year with the team, I think he's going to do a really, really good job. I expect him to have a pretty big year with the team, and I think he will have a fantastic year with the team going into 2024. Up next, how about the 47 car for JTG Doherty Racing? Now, we initially thought that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a multi-year deal with JTG, and that is kind of true. But apparently, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. does have a chance to maybe not be with this team in 2024. However, if you want my honest prediction, when it comes to the 47 car, I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to stay long-term in the number 47 car. I think Stenhouse will take some steps forward in 2023, where I think his performance will do pretty good, just enough to keep him at the team long-term. I think we'll see Stenhouse stay long-term with the team and continue driving the number 47 car, and I think he stays in the 47 car long-term. Up next, how about the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports? Now, Alex Bowman is on an expiring deal at the end of this year, and it is possible Alex Bowman may not be with the team in 2024. However, if you want my prediction, I think Alex Bowman is going to get a multi-year deal with Hendrick Motorsports and stay with the team. While I don't think he's going to make the playoffs in 2023, he's going to perform well enough. He'll perform very similar to what Mark Truex Jr. did. I think he's going to do well enough to get a contract extension. I think Ally sticks around for another year or two, and I think that we're going to see Alex Bowman sign a contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports and continue to drive the number 48 car. Up next, how about the 50 car for the Money Team? The Money Team in 2024, I think, is going to run a lot of races. And if you want my honest prediction for 2024, I think it's going to be split between 2 potential drivers. I think it will be between Connor Daly, who will, of course, be making some starts with the Money Team this year, and I think Julio Castroneves. Both drivers are trying to get some starts. Of course, Cashner was trying to make starts in the 2023 Daytona 500. We're still waiting on that to get officially confirmed if it's going to be confirmed or not. We're less than about a month till the Daytona 500, so things need to get confirmed really, really soon. But I think those will be the drivers who will drive that car in 2024, and I think we'll see this car run more races in 2024 as well. Up next, how about the 51 car for Rick Ware Racing? Well, we never really know much about Rick Ware Racing past till we get close to the start of the season. My expectation is that Cody Ware is going to drive this 51 car full-time in 2024 like he is in 2023. Cody Ware is coming off kind of a disappointing year. Well, a decent year considering the equipment he's in. I think Rick Ware will take some steps forward in 2023, and I think it will help their team try to position themselves to be a more consistent team up front and run better long-term. Up next, how about the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing? There's going to be no changes here. Ty Gibbs will continue driving the 54 car in 2024. Ty Gibbs will be in the Cup Series for about 15 to 20 years, and he's never going to be leaving the 54 car in his NASCAR Cup Series career. He'll have Monster Energy backing him at points in 2023, and Ty Gibbs is expected to have a decent year in Cup, though he's probably not going to be running away with the Rookie of the Year as some people think he is, and I think he'll be very, very competitive this season, but we'll have to wait and see. But he's continued driving the 54 car in 2024. Up next, how about the 62 car for Beard Motorsports? Beard Motorsports, I'm not expecting really major changes going for that team. I think they're going to try to run maybe a few more races in 2024. And my prediction is that Austin Hill is going to be driving this car once again in 2024. I think Austin Hill is going to try to run the full season in 2024, splitting between the 33 car and the 62 car. And I think he'll make some starts in that 62 car once again. Beard, of course, is expanding their schedule in 2023. And I think they could expand their schedule even a little bit more going into the 2024 season as well. I think Austin Hill will be the driver. Up next, how about the 66 car for MBM Motorsports? Now, MBM is kind of a team that's a little bit skeptical on their future if they're going to be in the sport long-term or not. But I think they will be. I think they're going to be in the Cup Series once again, and I think that Timmy Hill will be the driver once again. Timmy Hill's been a driver for MBM Motorsports for many, many seasons, so I would have to imagine that Timmy Hill is going to get opportunities to drive this car as well once again, and I expect that MBM will be back in the Cup Series in 2024, and they will have Timmy Hill as a driver in that 66 car. Up next, how about the 67 car for 2311 Racing? Now, in 2023, 2311 Racing will actually be expanding to a third part-time entry, and they're going to have multiple drivers in that car. Travis Strong, of course, will be driving the Daytona 500 or attempting to make the Daytona 500, and also Kurt Busch if he's medically cleared. In 2024, I expect this car to potentially be a full-time car, but be very similar to the Project 91 entry. I would expect drivers like Travis Pastrana to come back once again. Sammy Smith to get some opportunities. I think Kurt Busch will be back for a couple starts in 2024, and maybe other drivers in the lower series that are in the cars could get an opportunity to drive this car in 2024. I think this car will run more races in 2024, and will try to run the full season. Up next, how about the 77 car for Spire Motorsports? While Ty Dillon is on an expiring contract with Spire Motorsports at the end of this season, I think that Ty Dillon is going to stay in the number 77 car. Ty Dillon doesn't really have any other good teams that are going to really want to pick him up. That's no disrespect to Ty Dillon, but his performances have not been fantastic in Cup, and I don't think that there's going to be really teams that are going to pick him up. Now, I think he's going to do solid at Spire Motorsports, and I think Spire is going to have their best year as a team. But I think in 2023, they're still going to have troubles running up front. But I think that he'll have some improvements, though, and is still going to stay in the 77 car. Up next, how about the 78 car for BJ McLeod Motorsports, also known as Live Fast Motorsports? Now, Live Fast Motorsports in 2023 will have BJ McLeod and Josh Bilicki in the cars. In 2024, I think that BJ McLeod, Josh Bilicki, Anthony Alfredo, and Landon Castle will drive this car in 2024. McLeod will drive not many starts. I think Josh Bilicki is going to drive a majority of the starts. Anthony Alfredo makes some select Cup starts in this car. And I think that we're going to see Landon Castle drive this car. I think it's going to be split between those four drivers, and I think that's what the lineup is going to be for 2024 for this team, and it will still be a full-time team. Up next, how about the number 84 car for Legacy Motor Club? Now, there will be a third Legacy Motor Club entry in 2024-3 with Jimmy Johnson driving it in around 5 to 6 races. I think this car is going to return in 2024, and I think Jimmy Johnson is going to drive this car for select few races, but I also think that we're going to see some drivers from the Xfinity Series get an opportunity. Wouldn't be surprised if you see some drivers even from the Truck Series maybe get an opportunity as well to get behind the wheel. Maybe somehow they get Matt DiBenedetto to get an opportunity to drive this car at some point. Maybe we see a driver like Grant Enfinger get an opportunity since he's a GMS driver. Maybe Roger Kroof gets an opportunity. Who knows at this point, but I think this car will return in 2024 and we'll be back this up next season. Up next, how about the 88 car for Junior Motorsports? I think in 2024, Junior Motorsports is actually going to make the jump up to the Cup Series, and I think that they are going to have two drivers driving this car. I think Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier are going to split this car. I'm not mentioning Brandon Jones because I think Brandon Jones is an Xfinity lifer, though he could make some Cup starts in this car. Sam Mayer, I don't think he's ready to jump up the Cup, so I think that you'll see Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier split the car, but I think that you're going to see Junior Motorsports make the jump up to the Cup Series in 2024. I think they make the jump up, and I think they will have a pretty successful year. Up next, how about the number 91 car for Project 91, which is, of course, Trackhouse. Project 91, of course, is making select starts in 2023, where they will not be entering the Daytona 500, but focusing on road courses. Though in 2024, I think they're going to expand and run a lot of the seasons. I think they're going to have drivers like Julio Castroneves, Shane Van Gisbergen, Kimi Räikkönen, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Logan Seavey, and maybe other drivers that could get an opportunity to drive this car. Sebastian Vettel, maybe Lewis Hamilton gets an opportunity. I think you're going to see multiple drivers get an opportunity to drive this car, and I think this car will try to run more races in the 2024 season. And finally, let's talk about the number 99 car for Trackhouse Racing. Now, Daniel Suarez, like Ross Chastain, his teammate, is on an expiring contract with Trackhouse Racing, but I don't expect any changes for Daniel Suarez. I think Daniel Suarez is going to stay in the number 99 car for Trackhouse Racing long term because Daniel Suarez, they're all waiting for the TV deal to come through, and I think that he'll get at least a 2 or 3 year extension with Trackhouse Racing. So I'm not expecting any changes, and I think Daniel Suarez will continue driving that number 99 car for Trackhouse Racing long term. I think he stays in the number 99 car. So that is going to be it for the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series Silly Season Predictions. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links are below over that, and comment below your thoughts below on today's video. What are your thoughts about my predictions? Do you think my predictions are accurate or not? Let me know in the comments below. I'm not entirely sure what video will be coming out on the channel, but I do have a pretty big announcement that's actually going to be coming out on this channel tomorrow late afternoon, so there's probably going to see a double upload day on this channel here on Sunday. So expect a couple videos on the channel tomorrow, and I should have those videos recorded here very, very soon. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.